So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And I hope you had a wonderful day. And now, relaxing to learn something more about the temple architecture on day 3 of today. Let me open the presentation. Uh, Anybody able to see the presentation screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Today we are in day 3 of our journey into the world of Dravida temple architecture with respect to temples of Tamil Nadu. Last 2 days, we have seen on day 1 the evolution of temples, how things evolve, and the various buildings. And yesterday, we talked about one of the most popular and the essential building of the temple, the Vimana, which hosts the Garbhagriha or the sanctum. There, we have seen from the bottom Upapeda, Adhisthana, Itti, and Prastara, the 4 parts. Primarily, this is the pedestal, foundation, and the wall portion and the roof portion. Today, we are going to see the superstructure part of it. That is the content above the Prastara, like the Haras, Griva, Shikara, and Stupi. So today, the section 3 contains, before we start on this, we will have a recap of what we discussed on the last day on the basic 6 components of a temple, Vimana, and 2 additional components that are there for some of the other Vimanas. So basically, very old basic huts and other things had only 4 components, which I showed you in the picture. Later, most of the Vimanas of the temple contained the basic 6 components. So they are called Shatanka Vimana. Later on, when they become taller and other things, so it required additional foundation and additional height. So the additional components were added, and it becomes an 8-component Vimana called Ashtanga Vimana. So yesterday there were some requests saying that some of the terms are in Tamil, some of the terms are in Sanskrit or English. So for your convenience, I am again putting these terms in clarity. The yellow one is Tamil for people who can read Tamil, and the second one is Sanskrit in red, and third one in English or the architectural equivalent. So the basic one here, there is no because if you see this, this is the Upapeda, the basic packed mud foundation is the Upapeda for this, because it is in a fairly strong soil and it doesn't require so much of effort, and the Vimana is also fairly small. The example I had taken here is one of the iconic Kodumbalur mover temple. The dancing Kalahari Murti here is the symbol of Tamil Heritage Trust. Our group, Tamil Heritage Trust, have adopted this dance pose as a symbol. This is a very, very unique temple, one of the best examples of the 9th century Chora temple. So here, whatever
Excuse me,
is...
sir. Just a minute, sir. Sir, is it the same slide of day 1 to day 7, or you change the slides? Because here we can see only one slide.
Slide is not moving, sir.
Slide is not moving.
Yes, we can see only the first slide.
So you are only seeing the first slide.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, so okay, I have found a bug.
Yes,
So basically, this is a link to the present. Yeah, basically this is a dynamic link to presentation, because in a slide presentation I can it's very difficult to handle big file. So I today split it up into different files. So when it's jumping from one file to another file, the presentation is not getting followed. So we are happy we have contributed one bug to Google Meet. Thank you. I will reshare the presentation. Okay. So the component architecture is not working. So we'll go to the core model. So today, are you seeing the screen now?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, its screen is moving. Now
Yes, sir.
you are seeing two
Yes.
temples.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, one is the most simple form from Kodumbalur with minimal decorations, but still it is beautiful. And the other is Tiruvadigai temple near Kadalur, the most complex and most cluttered with so much of details. So how these components are developed and how they got into these structures, we will analyze today. So today's plan is to discuss on superstructure, Griva, Shikaras, Stupi, and what are the various shapes of the Shikaras, and some of the arches and nasis here, and how from a simple one tala, other talas are added and aggregated to a grand temple. And what are the component edifices like kutas, pancharas, salas, which are the basic building blocks here, and how this aggregation creates a vertical alignment of shala or rekas from the vertical side. And also talk a little more about some of the complex temples where terraces and pathways are available in the Vimana itself. When you have a multi-tier Vimana, there are terraces and pathways available in this area. So we will see that also. And finally, end of the day, so this is day 2 of Vimanas. We'll have a quick, if time permits, we'll have a quick recap of the Vimana components which we have discussed so far. So that is the agenda. So here we are seeing the Kodumbalur Mover temple. This is near Kodumbalur, near Pudukottai or Trichy. And this is a beautiful Kala Samhara Murti dance pose. This we have adopted as a logo or icon for our Tamil Heritage Trust, the organization to which I belong to for doing heritage related service. This is a beautiful, simple temple and with no clutter. So I have taken it as an example to describe the 6 basic components which are required in a temple. There, Yesterday, some of the people said that they were not able to catch the Sanskrit or English equivalent, and then they are confused. So, for benefit of all, I'm giving all the three things: yellow in Tamil in yellow, and then Sanskrit in red, and English or architectural equivalent in green, so that this is remembered and we don't have any confusions. So the fundamental part when a temple is to be raised fairly to a good height, or if the soil is not so good, we add one more pedestal called foundation called additional foundation called upapita. In this case, it is not evident because if you see this from the ground level, they have just packed the soil and then they straight away started building from Upana and Kumata and other things. So this is the Upapida part. The next component is the Adhisthana or a basement, which takes the load of the entire Vimana and then spreads it if any foundation is there through this. So if you see this from the straight plumb line of the Vimana, it is extending like this and spreads the load into the ground with the reducing of pressure, so that there is no shake and then it doesn't tilt to one side. This is Adhisthana. So up to this this is Adhisthana, where we have Padma Jagati and then Kumudam and then there is a Pradivari. So in between Gala Kambu is missing, Kamba and Gala is missing here. What we discussed on the day yesterday, Adhisthana, we have defined 6 components. So some or all of the components can be there. So this is a good example for that. Then you go to the wall or biti. It is called Padavarkam or Aditala in Tamil. So this is the wall portion which covers the Garbhagraha on three sides with the opening on the front side for the darshan. This has got its own embellishment and costumes and then pillars which we saw that. The next component is prastara or the roof, lintel, which has got some ornamental parts and it covers the top portion of the temple. So beyond that, it will be either solid or it will be bowl inside with the wall built on four sides and gradually coming into a pyramid shape. So in olden days, the superstructure was not there, and some of the early rudimentary temples stopped at this point in Prastara. We will come to the Hara or first Tala later. The next component is the Griva, which is like equivalent of our neck. So it is also called as Ganta. Ganta, wherever Ganta comes in many places, wherever Ganta is there, you can think of it as a recessed. From the plumb line, this element is always recessed. When you talk about Badram in Sanskrit means project. So whenever we say Badra, it is projected from the plumb line little out. So on top of Griva, we have the Shikara, which is a crown which can be in multiple shapes. And on top, there is a stupi in here. So these are the basic vertical components of any temple. It is called Shatanga. But when we start expanding and making it bigger and taller, so we need to add lot of layers in the middle. So these layers are called Hara, which is a collection of mini temples or edicules. Okay, so these are the 3 mini edicules which form the second tier. This is the base tier and it is a first level. So total two-tier temple. We call it as a Tvitala. Tvi means two. Tvitala Vimana. So hope this introduction jogs your memory and you are in sync with yesterday's presentation. Now let us go deeper into continuing our yesterday's session with more details. So the remaining members on the top after the haras we'll park it for now because in a Ekatala temple there is no hara, and then straight away we go to the top portion. The top portion contains three major elements: Griva, Shikara, and Stupi. This is an example from the biggest Vimana in South India, the Pragadiswara or Rajarajaswara temple in Tanjavur. So there are so many stories about this temple and this Shikara. People say that this is one single stone, 80 ton weighing, and then it was rolled either through a slope or through a helical circular pathway. But researchers or people who have been there, they say that it is like a orange fruit. So this is a octagonal Dravida Shikara, and it has got 8 parts. They say that 8 stones have been fused together to bring this Shikara. The Kalasa here itself is taller than a person. It's very huge. And then last time we had some photos of people standing near the Kalasa when we had the Kumbhabhishekam happening in 2000. So this is one Gobra Darshanam or a Vimana Darshanam we have. So the first component is Griva, which is called Kanta or Gala. This is the neck portion. You can see the neck portion here. And normally this will reflect the same shape of the Shikara. So if Shikara is in square, it will also be in square shape. And this will be slightly recessed, like any Kanta, it will be recessed. The next component is the Griva Koshta. When you say Koshta is a recessed part where it contains a inlaid place where normally some Alankara or a deity is there. Here, the directional deity for the particular direction will be there. If it is Shiva in south side, it will be Dakshinamurti, north it will be Brahma, like that. What happens is the Mahanasika here, we'll come to Mahanasika later. This is the arch type of structure which is there in all 4 sides, primary direction. This extends down like a full temple, and in that there is a costum where the idol is housed. The second is Griva Konam. Konam means corner. So there is a flat surface available here, and there is a gap in this corner. So in this gap, normally the Vahana or Buddha related to the particular main deity will be there. So if it is Shiva, it will be Nandi, or if it is a Muruga temple, there will be Peacock, and if it's a Ganesha temple, we may have a Mushika kind of. This is Griva Kodam, the corner. Next is the actual Shikara. The Shikara may be in various geometric types. So depending on the type or the shape, people call it as a Dravida shape Vimana or Nagara shape Vimana or Vesara shape Vimana if it is with no angles in a circular way. On top of the Shikara, we have the Kumbha Kalasa, and then we have a Stupi. And in some cases, in Northern temple, there will be the weapon also, the Sula or Sudarshan Chakra will be also be displayed along with a flag. like how it is done in Puri or other temples. Slowly, some of the temples they have started putting flag also. So this covers the top portion of any Vimana containing the Griva, Shikara, and Stupa. Now, when we want to see what are all the shapes that is possible in a Shikara, let us go back to day one presentation where we talked about 6 most used steps. Like we have a square plan and a square top, square hut top on a square plan, and our amalaka on top of a square plan. Or it can be an apsidal plan with apsidal top, or it can be a square plan with a polygon top. This is a classical Dravida temple. And for some of the Sakti temples, this will be a rectangle plan, and like a Gobra, it will be a Sala or wagon top. Because Tantric temples and other things will be of this shape. These 6 shapes have been experimented long back in one place. If you go to Mahabalipuram, you will be able to get all the examples for all variations in temple building. It is a temple university where you see work in progress, finished product, raw material, and beautiful exhibition of iconic temples. Everything is available. So we can see, so I am taking the examples from the monolithic rathas. We have around 9 monolithic rathas. So they have covered all these shapes. All are in various shapes and design. The Valankutte Ratham has got the basic square type of Nagara Shikara. When you go to Draupadi Ratha, it has got the Kudakara type of the hut type of coverage. The next one, in the shore temple, we have a Vesara temple where you have a bulbous round top. Okay? Here the variation is the circular plan and circular top. Then the 4th variation is the Nakula Sakateva Radha, where this is a pure apsidal plan and apsidal top. The next component, the pinnacle of monolithic Ratha, the Dharmaraja Ratha with 3 tiers and the most complex Ratha available. But again, if you see this, this is unfinished on the bottom side. So it has got a octagonal 8-sided Shikara. The final one, Ganesh Ratha, it is saying Ganesh Ratha, but originally it is meant for Shiva. And this has got a wagon roof kind of Shikara, which resembles this. So, even in 6th, 7th century to the 8th century itself, they have experimented all types of designs in one single place. So, next time when you go to Mahabalipuram, whenever you come to Chennai or Tamil Nadu, I would recommend you first to go to Mahabalipuram where you get the overview of the entire Tamil Nadu or Dravida type of temple building. Then you can go to the other locations. So, having seen the various shikaras, now let us go into the world of arches and nasikas, which I have been saying, but I have not explained so far. This nasikas, the arch kind of a thing, comes from the earlier 3rd century BCE, where the old Hindu temples and the Buddhist chaityas used to have this horseshoe kind of an arch, which is a load-bearing element when you do the wooden as well as the rock building. Later on, this transformed into gavakshas in North Indian style and as a nasika in South Indian architecture. This is the arch kind of a thing, which is available here. So there are some 9-10 varieties of nasikas that are mentioned in temple architecture agamas. But I am just giving you the top 4 varieties which you will be able to understand and appreciate the beauty. The first name called Mahanasika, naturally when you say Maha, it has to be at the top of the place. So it is on the top, which is available in the Shikara on the 4 cardinal directions, the big one. Here, even if it is octagonal with 8 sides, on the 4 cardinal direction, east, west, north, south, there will be big Nasikas, and on other 4 sides, there will be smaller ones. So this is called Mahanasika. And this is festooned with Kirti Mukas. This is another addition which extensively expanded during the Rajaraja period. So Kirti Mukha is nothing but a lion, smiling lion, and then from the lion's mouth, a lot of pearls and string of pearls will be coming up, and it will be like an ornamental plant here. So this is one form of Nasika called Mahanasika, which is normally, so the rule is it will be on the Shikara, on the cardinal direction. The next variation is during later period, Chalukyas and others, they extended the primary direction Nasika. That is the Mahanasika, which is available on the front side. Suppose if the deity is facing east, on the front of the temple, the east side Nasika is extended and then made bigger. So it is called Sukhanasika, a bigger one. Sometimes what happens is it is extended so much that it covers the entire width of the vestibule or the antarala, the next component of the building. So this is a projected Nasika extending on only on one side on a normal Shikara. So this will be almost in some cases like size of the Shikara. So this is an invention from the Vesara area, Chalukyas and other thing, and gradually it expanded to Orissa, it expanded to Dravida culture, and it is prevalent. This is in Nageshwaram temple. This is around early 9th century from Aditya Chola. The third variant is Lalata Nasika, which is present on a Vesara temple. Vesara temple, even though you have four primary direction, there is only one Mahanasika in front of the apsidal Shikara. So when you say apsidal, it has got 2 parts. One is the half circular back and the rectangular or square front. So front side of this rectangle, there will be a big arch like this. This is called Lalata Nasika. Lalata means your forehead. So it is the ornament on the forehead. So normally it will be only for apsidal or circular temples. The fourth component is the Kushinasika. This is something like a Kirti Mukha, but it is extended in a very, very elaborate way with a garland of fire, more details, and then sometimes the entire family of gods will be there, or there will be a small Vimana representation like how it is here. And there will be so much of ornamentation. And this is not a single lion or tiger. It is a combination of so many animals characters. It is not a simple lion. This is called Kushinasika. This will be normally be available on the diagonal sides of the gopuram. When you see a gopuram, the front and the back, the way while we enter, you will be having Mahanasikas like this. On the side, suppose if it is east-west oriented, on the north and the south side of the Gopura, on the top, you will see this Kushinasikas. This is the most ornamental and beautiful part. I will show you the photos and other details when we are covering the Gopuras on day after. On top of it, there is one ultimate Mahanasika, which is available on top of Bragadiswara temple's third layer. It is like this covers the entire temple and it rises up to 3 levels. This is a depiction of Himalayas, where all the gods, Shiva, Parvati, the entire family, extended family, all the devas, everybody is there. Unfortunately, we can't see this. Even if you climb to second floor, from there it is only half visible. Only drone shots will be able to make a very good picture out of this. So this is Nasikas. Apart from that, there are small Nasikas and arches available in various places as ornamental. We will see some of it when we go to the Mandapa section. So from a single Tala temple, when we go to a multi-Tala temple, this basically done for 2 reasons. One, a strong Upapida is added here like this to raise the height and to ensure more stability in a soil issue, if there is some soil issue. The second, we add talas, this layer in 2 or 3 or 4 or something. We can in this. Agamas talk up to 14, which the big temple has touched 14 layers in a pyramidical fashion, so that the size of the members keep on reducing, going into a pyramidical shape. So each tala has 2 components, one inner wall of the temple, which you see this as an inner wall, and the outer bitti and prasara. Outside that, we have the ornamentals, small temples. We'll see the pictorial representation in the next slide. So, these small temples, this is the small edifice called Kuta, Panchara, and Sala, and this is the example of this kind of a model structure here. So let us see one by one. Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear.
Yeah, this is a temple plan of Darasuram temple, where they had done the arrangement in a different way. So this is the level on the first tala of the temple. In the corner, there is one temple type called Karnakuta, which is like a small temple with a Nagara type square shikara. Here, only if you see this, only the 4 components are available. The stupi, shikara, and then there is no small griva, and then there is a pitti or wall portion. Only that much is represented as a small temple. So the rule for this temple is that this will be available only at the corner. It won't be normally available in the middle. In the corner, you will always have the Karnakutas. Karna means ear in Sanskrit. So in the edge, it is like an ear extending out. So in the corner, the rule is that we will have Karnakutas. The next type of The next type of mini temple is called Sala. This is the wagon roof type of a rectangular thing. If it is normally there, it is called Sala, and when it is projected, it is Bhadrasala. And in the center row, it is normally Sala only, and we won't find any other component. So in the corner, it is always Karnakuta. In the center, it is always Sala. In between, we have another member called Panchara. Panchara is nothing but your apsidal temple. You see the apsidal small temple here, the rectangle and the pen. The front face are the the Lalada Nasika of this is the arch we see here. Okay, the front portion. So it will be looking like an arch. Technically, if you see this, the back will be an elongated Panjara or the apsidal temple. And this is optional. And normally the rule for Panjara is that it always comes in between these two. So it doesn't come in center or it doesn't come in corner. So the combination of these three, we can have many structures depending on the width of the temple. There is one more concept called Hara Antra. Hara means garland. The Hara is garland. So Antra means inside. So from the garland of these many temples, it goes slightly inside. So this is the balustrade connecting the gap between the kutas. It may contain Sudra Nasikas or Vrittasputika or any of the other pillar embellishments which we saw in the earlier classes. So this is how one layer is structured, and like that we can have multiple layers to build to the top of the temple. And once we have completed layer, your standard component of Griva and Shikara comes in. Okay, so what we have seen is Karnakuta in the corners, Sala in the center, and Panjara in between, and the gap is called Arantra. So hope this is clear. So let us go to the next layer and validate this, whether this rule applies. So in the corner, we have Karnakutas, and in center we have Sala, and in the middle we have Pancharas. But this is a very unique temple. I am showing you the exception rather than the rule, primarily to see that how much of innovation or changes they can make. Normally, in all the places it will be square. Here they have made the change, and you can see that it is a octagon at the corner, okay, which is not at all defined anywhere here. Okay, Dravida corner. So I will tell you the reason later. And the Panjaras, instead of the Nasika facing us, it is showing the side-on pose. You can see this, the side-on pose. You can zoom and show. Okay, now you will be able to see clearly. The Panjaras are side-on, unlike this ones here. And the corner ones are rectangular. And the Bhadra here was 2 part. Instead of it is a single part. So this is second level. Let us validate it and go one more layer up. We have reached the Shikara and this one. Normally here in the earlier slide, we saw that only the Bhutakanas or something is there. Here they had done an exception, and they have created 2 more Karnakutas. And again, surprise, these are not square or not octagonal, they are round. So this is an exception in a temple, but it is not a rule. Primarily, I am trying to highlight why it is so that the exceptions will embed the normal rule in your mind. So this is again to highlight the Shivalinga concept of 3 components: square, Brahmapaga, and then octagon Vishnupaga, and round Rudrapaga. So wherever possible, this concept of Shivalinga will be implemented in many places. So this is an example where it has been implemented in the shapes of haras also. So next, let us see that from a Ekatala temple, there is one layer, one tier temple, how this aggregation takes place. If you remember, on the day one class, I have given a example on how this is put together by adding more and more components on the site. Let us see visually. I had tried to make some visual representation. Pardon me on the crude diagrams. I just wanted it to convey the meaning. That's all. So it is not the exact representation. So in a Ekatala Vimana, we have Adhishtanam, we have Vitti, the wall portion, and we have Prastara, and on top of it, we have a restricted Griva. Then you go into the bulbous Shikara, which can be in any shape, up to the Stupi. So this is the normal Ekatala Vimana. If I want to expand it further and make it big, taller and taller, like the one way is give him lot of Horlicks or Complan, it will become taller. The other way is if you build, it actually becomes taller, but it looks odd. Let us see how it happens if I want to make it as taller. Assume that they have taken only Horlicks or Complan, it won't. Let us see how it works. The Dvitala temple. Now I have made the bit taller. Griva, the Prastara is there, Griva is there, Shikara and Stupi. How odd it looks, ugly and not so beautiful. So this is not working out, and because of this, the center of gravity will go up. Here, the center of gravity is somewhere here, then it will be here. So the chances of toppling and going like a Pisa tower is more. So what they do is, like I said, they put half temples like this on all the four sides. Let us say 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1. So totally 8 components are put. 4 kutas on corner, 4 salas in between, then it becomes totally 8. So if I put 2 kuta means your square type of Nagara temples, tall temples like this, and 1 sala, the wagon kind of a temple in the middle, then it looks somewhat decent. So the outlook is better. Now it is taller, and then we put a prastara in between. So split it between first tala and second tala. So this is the logical view that when you expand a temple, okay, you put smaller, taller temples around it and pack it first level, second level, third level like that. And this is a logical thinking. But when you actually construct, you won't be able to do like that. Okay, so we will need to go by tala. So this is the way it is actually done. So we have a Divitala in an actual construction format. So we build up the Biti and then we complete the Prastara. This is the Aditala. So this is where the Garbhagraha, sanctum, everything is there, and it will be enclosed by walls and covered. Then you start building one more superstructure on top of it, which will be empty or bowl inside, and outside there will be 4 walls. And it is closed at one level or left open in between, but outer you have the building. Then you put only the crown parts, the shikara and the small harapa. So you have 2 kuta edicules and 1 sala edicules on top. Then this is connected by the back wall. This is the Aradhara, and this becomes a first tala. Then you start building the Griva, and standard shikara and stupi. So between a ugly thing and this one, it looks better with some more structure on this. So this is how two Tala Vimanas are built. Applying the same concept, if you are building a Tiritala Vimana, this is how it will be done. So you build the basic Aditala, and then you build the first Tala and fill it up with the kuta, two kutas on corner and one sala in center. And since this is wide, you have more gap here. You add some more. Either you can add two salas here, or normally people add two pancharas. Okay, so the first layer looks with the harandra, and this is the first tala. So now it is a wider temple. It is going to be tall, so your width is more with more components, and this is your first tala. Now second tala is built on top of it, continuing this wall and extending further. So on this, you first put two kutas and one sala, and it is almost width is full, so there is enough. So we build the harantara, and your second tala is complete. Then you go and build the griva, and then shikara and stuti. So this is our Tivitala, and like that, we can build up to 14 layers as per Agamas, and all these calculations are available. Suppose if this is the base or width of the Garbhagriha, how much will be the foundation, how much will be the wall, and how much will be the prastara, and how, if it is two tala, how much will be the ratio of this, how many airicles are going to be there in each tala. All this they have clearly mentioned as sub-calculations or ratios of the width of the temple. So that is the reason you look at any temple in Tamil Nadu from a distance, it looks alike because the ratios are same. So this is a contiguous and clear design. It is not looking haphazard and then every temple is different. Everything has got a standard ratios with minor variations. So far we are clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Very beautiful illustration.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much.
Sir.
Sir,
Thank you.
perfectly clear,
Okay.
sir.
Cool.
Babu, sir. Thank you.
Okay, right, sir. Now we go into some examples. So far we have been playing with childlike drawings. Now let us go into the real stuff. How the Kuta, Sala, Panchara developed. So now this is Mahabalipuram, the trendsetter in structural stone temples. Here we have two temples. This is the one facing west and this is one facing east. So this is Vitala Vimana and this is 5-story Vimana. And how do you count this? How do you count the stories? The easiest trick available is to identify the prastara by the presence of kapota in it. So if you see this temple, how many kapotas are there? This is the base Aditala kapota or prastara, the first tala, second tala. So 1, 2, 3. So this is a Tritala temple. Now coming to this, you have Aditala 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total 5 talas. So 5 tala temples. Some other people also suggest counting the corner Karnakuta. Sometimes it fails because you saw that in the earlier example I showed, there are Karnakutas on top, and in some of the cases here Karnakutas are missing in the first floor. So that doesn't work. Safest method to count the number of talas is count the prastara or kapota layer. That is very visible and clear. If you see the components, the Karnakutas or salas here, they are very small. You have only the shikara and a small portion of the Pitti is available, only 2 parts or 3 parts. This is the first level of detail. Then, if you go to Tirupuranam temple near one, so you see this is expanding into a more detailed structure, extending with some foundation and base. So this is the same area. The small temples are becoming larger and extended. So the Vimana, even though it is a 2-tala Vimana, it looks taller because these components are taller. The third variation, Srinivasanallur Kuranganel Muttam temple, they are taken to the extreme, and normally if you see this, you expect only this component here. They have built the entire replica of the temple on top. This is a 2-tala temple only, it is not so tall, but they have made it taller by extending and replicating one more level of Pitti on top. So normally this will be only available here. So they extended to make it taller. So this is one variation. Now we are seeing some variations of the shikaras as well as talas. Okay, I am giving some few examples, but I had tried to mix the shikara shapes as well as the tala count is different, so that with the fewer examples I am able to cover multiple temples. What is the shape you see here? This is the apsidal Gajabrishta temple, and this is a circular temple on back, and again 2 more Gajabrishtas there. So this is a unique temple and beautiful temple with the 2 tala. How many talas you? This is the 1 prastara, and this is the 2nd prastara, and this is the neck portion and shikara. One of the fantastic available temples in Kanchipuram. You will be amazed if I mention that this is a Jaina temple. It is not a Hindu temple. It is a Jaina temple, and the images here, Tirthankaras here are also Jaina Tirthankaras. Okay, so case in point that agamas and the building structures and technology is across all religions. So only the idols and other things will be changing, but the basic structure and rules remain the same. This is Tirupati Kundram temple near Kanchipuram, one of the last surviving Jaina segments in Kanchi. So we see some more temples. We have seen this temple earlier, Kodumbadur. This is our favorite temple. So how many talas are there? 1, 2. And if you see this, this is Sala, Bhadra Sala, it has been raised. The Bhadra Sala is of higher height than the kutas around here. That is another issue. Now we see another beautiful temple. See the shape. Can you guess the shape? Anybody? Shape of the Sikara? Any answers? Huh? It is not apsidal. Not Sala.
India Vatam. Sir, India Vatam.
Super. Super. Andhyavata or Vritta Aita. So this is technically 2 apsidal joined together. Okay, to have a rectangle in the middle and 2 half circles on 2 sides, like a racetrack. It is one of the rare temples available in Irkampattu. Here it is a mixed temple where the base plan is a rectangle and it goes on into a racetrack kind of an Vritta Aita kind of an structure here. So you see the Shikara as well as the Griva is of the same shape. Here also you see that the second level of the edicules have been raised to a great height to do this effect. Again, we are seeing three more temples. This one is from Kanchi. Can you guess the shape?
Circle.
Anybody?
Vrita.
Circle.
It is not a circle. It is,
Dasara.
yeah, it is a elongated circle. Can you identify this? If it is a circle, it would have gone like this. Okay, it is an elongated circle. Are you able to see this?
So it's an ellipse.
Elliptical.
It's an ellipse.
Elliptical. Okay. So this is the Ayata Vrita type, and it is one of the Shuddha Ayata Vrita type, where from bottom all the way up it is elliptical. It is a Jwarareswara temple in Kanchipuram, very near to Ekambareswara temple. It is a must-visit temple. Beautiful sculptures. The other model, how many tiers are there in this? Very difficult to identify. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 structures. Okay, you can also identify by the people who are lifting this mana. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this is another temple. This is called Bhojeshwara temple, done by Hoysalas in Kochi in the 14th, 15th century. Okay, and the unique feature of this is that you have 2 salas and 2 kutas. Okay, so they are floating the room. So normally only one sala sikara will be there in the center. This is the variation where you can see 2 salas. Now we come to the ultimate confusion. Tiruvadigai temple, Veeratana temple, which is near Kadalur. Can you count the number of layers? Anybody guess? Very difficult. You need a telescope. So 1, first floor, second floor, third, fourth, and fifth. So 5 tiers. But the tiers are packed so close that we find a lot of time to do this. And again, you see this, the first level of kutas and salas almost have the full detail like the original temple. Only the pretty portion is little smaller, but details are too good. So this is how the kutas and salas expanded into various designs. So in earlier temples, the kutas and salas were in line with the original thing, like you saw in the old temples. Later on, what they did is they started extending or projecting the Bhadram little forward. So the Bhadram will be projected 2 meters, and the in-between portion will go little back, and again Karnakuta will be projected 1 meter. Then, like a North Indian type, it also starts coming into the star shape. So can you see the projection here? The Bhadram, the central portion is getting projected here, and the Panchara portion is getting inside, and the Karnakuta portion is projecting again. We see one more example in Thiruvayaru, the southern Kailasa temple. There also you see the wall and the entire section of the Bhadra portion getting projected at one level, and the next Panchara and Kuta level getting projected one level in. Later on, what we did is, for this projection, for each type of projection, they change the Adhisthana into different formats, so that the central projection will have one type of Adhisthana, and the corner ones will have totally different type of Adhisthana, just as a variation. So they played around in all dimensions, in all combinations. Now, having seen the three types of aedicules: kutas, salas, and pancharas. Now let us go back to the hara and once again see how the hara is broken into multiple segments and make some sense out of this complex structure. This is the Gangaikontam Cholapuram, built by Rajendra Chola, one of the second biggest temple in Tamil Nadu. This and Tanjavur big temple share a unique design where instead of one level of, this is like a dupli house. Okay, your lingam is 2 floors tall, and so they have broken it into 2 tiers. So this is one level of wall, and it is like a second level of wall. If the people who remember the North Indian architecture, this is like a janga, upper janga, lower janga, and with a band in between. So let us see how this is split up into various components and see how we can analyze the petty portion. So you see the level 1, Aditala, first floor. Just a recap, we have the Upapita as a basement foundation here, and you have the Adhisthana portion here, okay? The Jakati, Kumutam, and Vari, and you have Vedi. Vedi means platform kind of an architecture with a band on top and bottom, and in between this Vedic Kandam. Vedi is again it has got Kandam and Kambu and other things. So this Vedic Kandam area, there will be a lot of sculptures or inscriptions. So Vedi will be there just after the Adhisthana and also on top just before the Griva. So the Vedic Kandam, and then you have the Aditala costumes, and then you have the first Tala costumes, and then you have the Hara. So this Hara is a 5-part Hara. One Salai or the Bhadra Salai in center, and 2 Panjaras on left side and right side, and 2 Karnakutas, square ones on the corner. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So if you cut it vertically, usually they cut it with the rekha or something is aligned with this small aedicule, either Hara or Panchara or Karnakuta, and this is called Pati. Or in North India, we call it as rekha. So vertical line. So if you see this, we have 2 patis. The Mukhasala or the Patra is there. So this is called Bhadrasala. And there are costumes, Toranas and everything available here. Bhadrasala. On top of 2 sides, we have Pradipatra. Pradi is a copy or a replicating one. You can talk it as a Pradipatra or Panchara. So this is called Pancharapati or Pradipati. So this is the second column. The third is the Karnakuta. We have 2 Karnakutas on corner, and this is called Karnapati. This vertical alignment is called Karnapati. What we have left, there are gaps in between. Okay, this is the recess. So when it is in the wall, it is called Salilantara. It is antar portion of the wall. It is called Salilantara. Up to this, it is called Salilantara. All the recesses between these patis are called Salilantara. Normally, rainwater flows to Salilantara and then goes into the rainwater harvesting channels. So this is also festooned with lot of Kumbha Panjaras and then all the other embellishment. And in second, some other things, there are Deva posters also. The gap on the Hara is called what? Harantara. Hara Antara. So in the Hara, there is a resource, it is called Harantara, where you have two Sutra Nasikas available. So this is how you make sense into a complex structure, and by identifying the top pancharas, you will be able to align the sections and identify them one by one. So time is already 8. I will finish it in 2 minutes. And then on top of it, when we have multiple temples, we have another interesting concept called terrace temples, where the temples what we have seen so far is having only one sanctum. All this superstructure is only for one sanctum. Whereas in some temples, we have more than one sanctum put on top of other, like your modern apartment houses. It is not a new invention. South India has invented it as early as 7th century, 8th century, and gods lived in apartments, not in individual houses. Vaikunta Perumal temple is the first apartment house in Tamil Nadu. So, this is one of the example of Dharmaraja Ratham. This angle you would not have seen so far. This is taken from top. If you look from front, it looks like any other normal 3-tala temple. But if you see from top, there is a gap between, and this is another view from the north side view. So there is a gap between first tala hara and the second tala wall. Okay, and there are staircases. Similarly, there is a gap between second tala hara and second tala wall. If you go to third tala, there is no gap. It is flush in line with the three wall. So when the outer wall is with the mini shrines without any gap, this is called Arpita Hara, because there is no gap and it is flush with this. When there is a gap, with an external wall is separate and the inner shrine wall is separate, and we have a pathway in between, it is called Anarpita Hara. So in this temple, you have two Anarpita Haras and one Arpita Hara. The Alindam is the path, it is called Alindam. This is the pathway between the sanctum wall and the outer wall. Here we have 2 rounds of Alindams. This is the circumambulatory path, open path. And in some cases, you will have an extended terrace on the front. When we talk about Ashtanga Vimanas with the apartment type of Vimanas, where multiple shrines are there, we will have this kind of a structure by default. For example, here, in this there is a shrine, and in this area there is a sanctum inside. So they had tried to structure the sanctum inside. So for this, the first floor, they were planning a staircase somewhere here so that you can access here, and from here you can go to the second floor. Another example is a Vijayalaya Chodiswaram, which is available in Pudukottai. There also, it is not a apartment temple, it is a simple individual temple. But again, first floor, they have ornamentally created a Anarpita Hara. Anarpita Hara, you can see that the Hara is separate, the inner temple wall is separate. That's why I have created in the color coding design, in the last one, I have color coded violet for the inner shrine wall, and for the Hara, I have color coded. So this is another interesting example of how pathways can be on top of this Hara's layer. Okay. So a quick recap of what we have discussed so far. This is another view of the same Vijayalaya Chodiswaram temple in Pudukottai. We talked about the fundamental components of Adhisthana, Upanam, Chakati, Kumudam, Kantam, and Patika, the components of Adhisthana. And on top of the roof, we talked about the Yadivari, the Kapota, the Podavari on top, and the Podika on bottom of the pillar, and the components of the pillar, like Pudam and other things. Today we talked about Hara, the type of mini temples. We talked about Karnakota and Harandra, the wall inside, the Panjara type of pedicles in between, and Sala type of mini temple in the center. We also saw the Mahanasika on top of the Sutra. And now the Nasikas available in various places. So we talked about Alpa Nasika, which is a smaller Nasika available here. And the interesting thing is the Netra Nasika in the Kapodam. Okay, Netra is equivalent to 2 in Sanskrit. In the coding style of numbering, Netra means 2. So it is twin Nasika, 2 Nasikas together like eyes. So we also talked about the partition, vertical partition or the Rekha. So this is Salai Pati. And the center, you have 2 Panjarapatis adjoining this. On the corners, we have Karnapati. What they have done is, they have extended to Ardha Mandapam, the same structure. So there also the same Pati structure follows. In Ardha Mandapa also we have Salai Pati and 2 Karnapatis. Okay. To cap up, initially we saw Chaturanga temples with only 4 components like Draupadi Ratha and the huts. There is no Prasara, there is no Griva. And we had the normal variety of Shatanga temples. Only single Dala and no Upapita. And we also saw multiple tier temples with the addition of Upapita and 1 or more Dalas. And we will see later in the next class Ashtanga Vimana with Navamurti Sthapana Vidhi. So this is as per Vaishnava Sampradaya. All the Vaishnava temples with the apartment type of 3 gods will be called this way, Navamurti Sthapana Vidhi. We will see it later in the next class. So this sums up the discussion on the temples, and we had a recap. Yesterday, the class and the day before, somebody was asking about Vastu Mandala and how it is. So, I am just giving a minute on this. Vastu Mandala is a spiritual concept of Vastu Purusha residing in a particular place. And he has got characters, and then he has got attributes to various directions. So, accordingly, they either put 1 square, 4 square, 2 by 2, or 3 by 3 kind of a square. And most normally used grid for temples is the 8 by 8, 64 square. Okay, 64 pada, 64 equivalent squares, where the Brahma pada in center is the position where the sanctum, the linga is put up, and on all 4 sides the Upadevatas and the Koshta Devatas are put. The rose one is for Manusha Pata, where you can do circumambulatory and other areas. And the outer ones are Paisashika Pata. So normally no temple is structured and humans are not there. So normally this will be like a wall or a mandapa and other. So this is how they visualize and align the temple based on the Pantuka Mandala. Our big temple in Tanjavur is done in this model. Some of the Vaishnava temples and other temples follow a more complex grid, 9 by 9 grid, which is called Paramasayika Mandala, which has got more deities, so more complex situation. But common is that both have 45 deities distributed across various positions. So you see some familiar deities here. Yama on north and Surya on east, and then Soma on south, and then Varuna on the side, and then in the corner Devatas, Agni and others are there. So this is how the various Devatas are put up in a temple in the particular places. And in home vastu also the same thing is followed. Like for example, in northeast, normally you have in southeast you normally have the kitchen. In temple also only in the southeast the Madapalli and other things are there. Your treasury will be somewhere in the north, and your storeroom will be on south. So this conventions is also followed to a certain extent in the temple.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. In our group, there are
Sorry, today
comments.
Sorry, today I took little length here.
No, but it's
Some
really
of the yeah.
It's too necessary for all of us for study it, and it's very clear. Just one question only from our chat box: is there an engineering reason for keeping Griva smaller than Shikhara? I thought it would be more difficult to balance a large Shikhara on a small neck. This is the only question. Otherwise, everything is clear.
Everything is either clear or everything is not clear.
No, sir. Everything is clear. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice, informative, and detailed session. It was very happy.
Thank you. So when I talk about Griva, okay, if our head can handle this, why can't it? That is the logic. So primarily they have tried to replicate this, and wherever possible there is a research. Normally, this, when you think about the internal cone, okay, the Griva is the place where the internal cone is, and then it stops. On top of it, we have a shaft which contains the bigger one, so that the pressure of the entire stone is transferred to the exact circle of the Griva, and it is distributed evenly to the four sides of the wall of the Vimana, and which will again land on the bitty portion and goes all the way up to the basement. This is where they made one more intervention, that when this force is getting splitted like this, instead of having one bitty wall, in Sandara temples we have two walls, okay, which again splits the load and then distributes it further. So there is the engineering design behind this.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Shreyas has raised one question: are there any differences in various types of Nasikas, aesthetic or belief? So there is some amount of belief system, and there is some amount of aesthetics and conventions. So when you have a very big bulbous thing, it is aesthetic nature, where four directions you get bigger ones and the other direction is a smaller one. In an apsidal thing, you can't put the Nasikas everywhere. It will look ugly and the shape will not be visible. So they logically put it on the forehead portion. So this is a way in which they put the purpose of Nasika is earlier it was like a ventilation in earlier times. Okay? You can see the earlier Chaityas, Buddhist Chaityas, before just above the entrance, there will be an elaborate network of Nasikas, which are typically opening with air and light. But over a period, when you go into granite temples and other things, this function has been transformed into more ornamental. So instead of having an open type, you add more and more decorations on top. Lakshmi Ramasamy is saying that it is overwhelming. For a dance professional like you, if it is overwhelming, imagine the 11th standard students' plight. Okay. Anyway, what I recommend, normally I do is, since it is a shorter term, I give more. Like when your mother gives you lunch, she never gives in one tiffin box. Okay, she gives full carrier and say whatever you eat. And over a period, now sometimes you are hungry, sometimes you eat, or sometimes you eat in afternoon, morning, and do it 2 times. Okay, this is what I suggest. First, you have absorbed, then read through it one more time. Then some more things will be visible to you. And if you take notes, then you visit it after seeing the temple, something more will be visible. Okay, what I am trying to say is like a Kernighan Ritchie kind of a book. You see, okay, in first reading, you won't be able to understand it. You will say that, hey, it's a complex subject, nice. But after some time, slowly, you are comfortable with the terms and then you try to retrieve. That's why I try to make some more visuals, some more activities. Yeah, the more you explore, you will enjoy the architecture thoroughly. Thank you. Bindu, as usual, has come up with some excellent question. Ancient temple didn't use foundation as opposite to modern building construction techniques to a certain extent. Yes. How they have done it and other things, we will see visually and in some of the later sessions. Already it is a little extended, so we can discuss it offline in the WhatsApp group also. So what I suggest is, if you have any further doubts, you can always post in the WhatsApp. And I seriously suggest that you have one more round of this session, either after dinner or early fresh in the morning, so that you absorb it in a better way. We are trying to give the maximum possible content in the available time. Okay, so that at least my objective is that, as I highlighted in the first session, once you complete this session, you not only have a certificate, you can actually go to the temple and identify, yes, this is this component, this is this dynasty, and this is this sequence. Okay. Once you achieve this and then you give me one feedback saying that I went to the temple, I was able to identify something more, that is the final certification for me and done. Okay. So hope this will happen and we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And thanks to all the participants also. And now we'll stop here today. Tomorrow we'll meet. Good night. Good night to all.